Hey, everybody, it's John Fleischman with SoDoesItMatter.com. All California politics, all the time. It's time for our worst week in California politics, and this week we have a very strong field. Two runners up and then one winner that managed to outdo all of them, or I guess you'd say one loser. Let's start with the second runner up. This guy, if you've ever heard of him, his name is Benjamin Martin. He's a candidate for supervisor in Madera County in the Central Valley. I don't know him. I've never met him, but judgment and temperament are probably a couple of things that you ought to be looking for in a candidate for county supervisor. So it certainly raised my eyebrows when I read that this guy was one of the people that was involved, not with the kind of passive wandering around the state capital, U.S. Capitol on January 6th, but he was on the riot side of things. As a matter of fact, when I read about this, I went and looked up the press release that was put out by the Department of Justice when he was convicted. And the picture's not a pretty one. When everyone's trying to break into the Capitol and they're going after the federal police and they've got weapons, they're pushing, they're shoving, they're spraying stuff. The federal police are trying to hold the doors closed. And this guy, Mr. Martin, Mr. Good Judgment, is busy yanking up, open the doors, holding open the doors. Even when the federal police are trying to pull them back, he's opening up the doors so that all these people can go in. I think what actually happened is somebody came out and so the door opened and then he held the door open. What a jerk. Anyways, he was prosecuted, convicted, went to jail. I think he got a pardon from the president. Look, pardon may or may not have been righteous because I think some of those pardons were due to due process issues. I don't know whether Martin was deprived of due process in his prosecution or not, but it's irrelevant to the fact that he did what he did. It's on video, and nobody who does that kind of thing has the judgment and the temperament to be in an office of public trust. Like I said, I don't know him. I've never met him. I'd never vote for him. Anyways, that's what I got for our second runner-up. Our first runner-up this week is a name we all know very well. It's former Vice President Kamala Harris. And this one's pretty politically devastating. So not in Iowa, not in New Hampshire, but here in the Golden State, here in California, her home state, a new Berkeley IGS poll that came out last week, it came out this week, showed her sitting at 9% amongst California Democrats when asked about who they would support for president when given a list. In the meantime, our own governor, Gavin Newsom, is getting 28%. That's a pretty big difference. It's not even a competition. At least between the two of them, it's a wipeout. And here's why it matters. This is the state that built her. I mean, she was the elected district attorney of San Francisco. She then became the attorney general of the state of California. She was elected to be a U.S. senator from California before going on to be vice president. Every step of her career happened right here in California. And now when asked, California Democrats are basically saying, no, thank you. So if you can't dominate your own base in your own state, it raises questions about whether you're a serious national contender, full stop. And so that's why she's a first runner-up, for worst week in California politics. And so now we have the winner, and this one's not even close. And maybe you've got this figured out already. It's the University of Southern California. And we'll give kind of Best Supporting Actor awards to ABC Television and Univision. Together, they all sponsored what was going to be a very high profile and I think well-timed gubernatorial debate in Southern California. It was supposed to happen on Tuesday of this week, but by the time these guys dropped the ball on the thing, they ended up having to cancel it. So how did this happen? That it got canceled? They designed a process that ultimately set up criteria that ended up excluding all four Democrat candidates of color from the stage. And of course, there was a big backlash. And I think maybe the real problem wasn't necessarily in the criteria, because to be objectively, those four candidates are doing pretty poorly so far. But then they didn't do anything to properly fix it. They could have said, hey, given what's going on, we're going to have a longer program and do 2 rounds and include everybody. I could think of a lot of things they could have done, but they didn't do anything. And so there was a huge backlash. And of course, everyone objected. And, they held their ground right until they hit their heads into a wall. The result, debate canceled, no discussion, no accountability. And frankly, that those debates need to happen. That entire gubernatorial race is really lackluster and is lacking any kind of focus. Nobody's paying attention, which is why there's still so many undecided voters and ballots are coming out in like 6 weeks. Anyway, this is why people lose trust in institutions, not because of conspiracies, but because of basic incompetence, which is what I would put here on what happened at USC. They couldn't even put on a debate in California. And that's why this week's winner, or maybe I should say loser, for the worst week in California politics is the hosts of the aborted gubernatorial debate, the University of Southern California. Hey, thanks for being a subscriber to SoDoesItMatter.com. Share this, tell people about our website, and appreciate it. Thank you very much. We'll see you.